Somewhere in your mind lives a dream of going beyond, beyond our planet, beyond our solar system, beyond our galaxy, beyond the universe itself. Science fiction has fed this dream for generations. Parallel universes, higher dimensions, escaping into the multiverse. But what if I told you that escaping the universe is not just impossible with current technology? What if the universe itself is a prison so perfectly constructed that no matter how advanced any civilization becomes, no matter how many billions of years they have, escape is mathematically, physically, and absolutely forbidden forever? Prepare to understand why. Human beings have always dreamed of escape. When we were confined to one continent, we dreamed of reaching others. When we were confined to Earth, we dreamed of reaching space. When we reached space, we dreamed of other stars. When we imagine reaching other stars, we dream of other galaxies. And somewhere in the most ambitious corner of human imagination lives the ultimate dream, escaping the universe entirely, leaving this cosmos behind and entering something beyond it. It is a magnificent dream, and it is completely impossible. Not impossible in the way flying was once impossible, waiting for the right technology and the right moment. Impossible in the way that 2 plus 2 equaling 5 is impossible. Impossible because the laws of physics that govern every particle of matter and every quantum of energy in existence make it so. Impossible because the universe is not just our home. It is the totality of everything that physically exists, and you cannot escape the totality of everything. Let me explain why. And let me start with the most fundamental question. What exactly is the universe? When scientists use the word universe, they mean everything. Every particle of matter, every quantum of energy, every point in space, every moment in time. The universe is not a thing inside something else. It is not a bubble floating in some larger space. The universe is the complete collection of all physical reality. Space itself is part of the universe. Time itself is part of the universe. There is no outside because outside is itself a spatial concept, and space is contained within the universe. This is not a semantic trick. It is a deep physical fact. General relativity, our best theory of gravity and space-time, tells us that space and time are part of the physical universe. They are not a pre-existing arena in which the universe lives. They are dynamical entities that are themselves part of reality. When we ask what is outside the universe, we are asking what is outside all of space. The question has no physical meaning because outside requires space, and space is what we are already talking about. Think of it this way. A fish swimming in the ocean might wonder what lies beyond the ocean. And there is an answer. Land, sky, the rest of Earth, outer space. The ocean exists inside something larger, but the universe is not like the ocean. The universe is everything. There is no beyond in any physical sense. Now you might immediately object. What about the multiverse? String theory and inflationary cosmology both suggest that our universe might be one of many. Maybe there are other universes out there and we could escape into one of them. This is where things get genuinely interesting. Because the multiverse, if it exists, does not provide an escape route. It actually makes escape more impossible, not less. Let me explain what the multiverse actually is and why it does not help. Eternal inflation is one of the most well-supported ideas in modern cosmology. The theory of inflation proposes that in the very early universe, a tiny fraction of a second after the Big Bang, the universe underwent a period of exponentially rapid expansion. Space expanded faster than light, doubling in size incredibly rapidly, smoothing out any irregularities and creating the large-scale uniformity we observe today. Inflation was an extraordinarily successful theory. It predicted the spectrum of fluctuations in the cosmic microwave background radiation with remarkable precision. Every observation has confirmed the predictions of inflation. But inflation has a consequence that its originators did not fully anticipate. Once inflation starts in a region of space, it is very difficult to stop everywhere simultaneously. Different regions of inflating space transition out of inflation at different times. When a region stops inflating, it forms a bubble universe like ours, with its own Big Bang, its own laws of physics, its own history. But the space between bubbles keeps inflating forever, spawning more and more bubble universes without end. This is eternal inflation, and it produces a vast, possibly infinite multiverse of bubble universes. Our universe is one bubble among countless others, separated by eternally inflating space. Now here is the critical point. These other bubble universes are not somewhere you can travel to. They are not in some direction of space you could point your spaceship. They exist in regions separated from us by eternally inflating space. The space between us and another bubble universe is expanding faster than light. It is not just very far away, it is causally disconnected from us. No signal, no matter, no information of any kind can ever cross from one bubble universe to another. The eternally inflating space between bubbles is not traversable. It is a region where space is expanding at a rate that makes crossing it physically impossible for any object or signal. There is no path through eternally inflating space that connects one bubble to another, because any path would be stretched away faster than it could be traversed. So even if the multiverse exists, even if there are infinite other universes out there, they are permanently inaccessible. Escaping our bubble universe into the inflating space beyond is itself an impossible journey, because that inflating space is not a welcoming void you can navigate. It is a violently expanding region where any matter or energy would be torn apart and dispersed by the exponential expansion. String theory offers another multiverse picture. In string theory, the fundamental entities are not point particles, but tiny vibrating strings of energy. The vibrations of these strings determine the properties of the particles they manifest as. Different vibration patterns give different particle types. String theory requires extra dimensions of space beyond the three we experience. These extra dimensions are curled up at incredibly small scales, too tiny to detect with current experiments. But there are an enormous number of ways these extra dimensions can be curled up and configured. Each different configuration gives different physical constants, different particle masses, different force strengths. Each configuration is a different possible universe. The number of possible configurations in string theory is estimated to be around 10 to the power of 500. That is a number so large it makes the number of atoms in the observable universe seem trivially small. This vast landscape of possible universes is the string theory multiverse. But again, these other universes are not places you can travel to. They are not spatial regions connected to ours by some navigable path. They are different configurations of the same underlying string landscape. Our universe exists in one configuration. Another universe would exist in a different configuration. There is no journey through space that connects them. They are more like different solutions to the same mathematical equations than different locations in a larger space. Transitioning from one configuration to another would require changing the fundamental constants of nature throughout our entire universe simultaneously, not just in your local region, not just in our galaxy, throughout all of observable space-time. This is not just technologically impossible. It has no physical meaning as an action that any localized entity within the universe could perform. Now let us address the most exotic proposals for escaping the universe, the ones that appear in science fiction and even in some serious physics papers. Higher dimensions. If our universe is a three-dimensional membrane floating in a higher dimensional space, could we escape by leaving the membrane and entering the bulk? Some versions of string theory do propose that our universe is a brain, a membrane-like object embedded in a higher dimensional space called the bulk. Gravity, unlike other forces, can propagate through the bulk. This might explain why gravity is so much weaker than other forces. Most of it leaks into the extra dimensions. But here is the problem. All the matter and energy we are made of is confined to the brain. Particles like electrons and quarks are open strings whose endpoints are attached to the brain. They cannot leave the brain by definition. They are literally attached to it by the physics of string theory. Only gravity, represented by closed strings with no endpoints, can propagate into the bulk. So even if our universe is a brain in a higher dimensional bulk, you cannot escape into the bulk because you are made of open string particles that are confined to the brain. You are not just physically prevented from entering the bulk, your very existence requires the brain. You are a pattern of excitations on the brain. Remove the brain and you cease to exist. You cannot escape something that you are constitutively part of. Black holes have been suggested as possible portals to other universes. The singularity inside a black hole is a place where the density becomes infinite and the known laws of physics break down. Some theoretical models of black hole interiors suggest the singularity could connect to a new region of space-time, possibly a new universe, through something called a white hole. This sounds like a potential escape route. Fall into a black hole, pass through the singularity, emerge in another universe. But there are multiple reasons this does not work as an escape route. First, black holes are one-way streets. The event horizon is a surface from which nothing can escape. Once you cross it, you are moving inevitably toward the singularity. You cannot turn around. You cannot signal to the outside universe. Every possible future for anything inside the event horizon leads to the singularity. There is no route that takes you out the other side. Second, the singularity is not a doorway. It is a point of infinite density where all the known laws of physics break down. Quantum gravity effects, which we do not have a complete theory of, will dominate near the singularity. The picture of the singularity as a smooth passage to another region is based on the classical equations of general relativity, which are known to be wrong near singularities. Whatever actually happens at the singularity, it almost certainly involves the complete destruction of any infalling matter rather than a smooth passage to somewhere else. Third, even if a black hole did connect to another region of space-time, that region would be inside the black hole. You would not have escaped the universe. You would be in a different region of the same universe, just one that is causally disconnected from the region outside the black hole. You cannot send information back. You cannot return. You are not free. You are more trapped than before. Hawking radiation provides another argument against black holes as escape routes. Quantum field theory near black hole horizons produces thermal radiation that slowly evaporates the black hole. Over astronomical timescales, a black hole radiates away its mass and eventually vanishes. Whatever fell into the black hole, all that information is radiated back out in a scrambled form through Hawking radiation. The black hole does not persist as a gateway to somewhere else. It evaporates. And anything that fell in is dispersed as radiation back into the universe it came from. What about quantum mechanics? Could quantum tunneling provide an escape? Quantum tunneling allows particles to pass through energy barriers that are classically insurmountable. An electron can appear on the other side of a barrier without having enough energy to climb over it. Could the universe itself tunnel to some other state? In quantum cosmology, the universe is described by a wave function, and that wave function can have quantum fluctuations. These fluctuations are real and have real effects. The vacuum of our universe has some energy density, the cosmological constant. In principle, the vacuum could tunnel to a different energy state, a process called vacuum decay. If our universe's vacuum is in a metastable state, sometimes called a false vacuum rather than the true lowest energy vacuum, then quantum fluctuations could trigger a transition to the true vacuum. This would produce an expanding bubble of the true vacuum that grows at the speed of light, consuming and destroying the false vacuum around it. Everything caught in the expanding bubble would be instantly annihilated as the laws of physics change to those of the true vacuum. This sounds terrifying, but notice what it is not. It is not an escape from the universe. It is a destruction of the current configuration of the universe, followed by replacement with a different configuration. The matter and energy do not go somewhere else. They are converted into different forms operating under different physical laws within the same space-time. You have not escaped. You have been annihilated and replaced. Even if you could somehow survive the transition, which you cannot, you would still be inside the same space-time, just a space-time with different physical laws. There is no outside to escape to. There is only the interior of space-time itself, which is everything. The conservation laws of physics present yet another absolute barrier to escape. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. Momentum is conserved. Angular momentum is conserved. These conservation laws are not arbitrary. As Emmy Noether proved, they arise from deep symmetries of nature. Energy conservation comes from the fact that the laws of physics are the same at all times. These symmetries are fundamental and inviolable. Escaping the universe would require taking your energy and matter outside the universe. But outside the universe, by definition, there are no laws of physics. There is no space-time. There is no framework in which energy and matter can exist. You cannot take physical stuff to a place where physical stuff cannot exist. The conservation laws have nowhere to conserve to outside the universe. The entire framework breaks down. Some people point to the mathematical Platonist view, the idea that mathematical structures have their own existence independent of physical reality. Maybe consciousness could somehow transcend the physical and exist in the realm of pure mathematics. Maybe information could escape even if matter cannot. But this is not physics. This is philosophy, and it requires assumptions that physics cannot validate. Even if mathematical structures have some abstract existence, the physical instantiation of information and consciousness requires physical substrate. Your thoughts require neurons firing. Your consciousness requires a brain operating in time. Outside the universe, there is no time, no space, no physical substrate. Whatever might abstractly exist outside the universe, it is not anything that physical beings like us could participate in or escape to. The situation is therefore completely clear. Our universe is not a thing inside a larger space you could navigate to the edge of and cross over. It is the totality of physical existence. Space ends not at a wall, but at the absence of space. Time ends not at a final moment after which you continue, but at the absence of time. The other universes in the multiverse are not adjacent rooms with doors between them. They are causally disconnected bubbles or different configurations of the same underlying mathematics with no physical path connecting them. You cannot escape the universe because there is nowhere to escape to. The concept of escaping requires a distinction between inside and outside. But the universe contains all possible insides. There is no outside. The question of how to escape the universe is like the question of how to travel north of the North Pole. Grammatically sensible, physically meaningless. Now you might find this depressing. The ultimate adventure, the ultimate escape, is forever denied to any being anywhere in the cosmos, no matter how advanced, no matter how powerful, no matter how long they survive. They are permanently contained within this universe. But consider another perspective. The universe is not your prison. It is your home. And it is a home of incomprehensible scale and richness. The observable universe alone contains 2 trillion galaxies. 2 trillion. Each galaxy contains hundreds of billions of stars, Many of those stars have planets. The total number of planets in the observable universe is so large that every grain of sand on every beach on Earth represents 1 billion planets. This is the scale of what you have access to. Within our own galaxy, there are 400 billion stars, tens of billions of potentially habitable planets, structures ranging from stellar nurseries where new stars are born to supermassive black holes at galactic centers to neutron stars spinning hundreds of times per second, emitting precise beams of radiation across the cosmos. Every phenomenon, every law of physics, every beauty that the universe can produce exists here within this galaxy that is already our permanent home. The universe contains enough complexity, enough mystery, enough wonder to occupy any civilization for the entire remaining lifetime of the cosmos, which is measured in trillions of years. The stars will burn for 100 trillion years. The universe will continue in some form for far longer. The amount of experience, knowledge, beauty, and meaning available within the universe is not just large. It is for all practical purposes infinite relative to the finite lifespan of any being or civilization. And the laws of physics themselves, the very laws that make escape impossible, are also the laws that make existence rich. Quantum mechanics creates the complexity of chemistry and biology. General relativity creates the large-scale structure of the cosmos. Thermodynamics creates the arrow of time that gives experience its meaning. The same laws that confine us also constitute us. We are not beings trapped in a universe. We are beings made of the universe, woven from its matter and energy and laws. There is a profound sense in which escaping the universe would mean escaping yourself. You are not a consciousness inserted into a physical universe who might one day leave. You are a pattern of physical processes within the universe. Your thoughts are electrical signals in neurons made of atoms forged in stars. Your memories are configurations of matter shaped by the history of the cosmos. Your entire existence is a manifestation of the universe knowing itself. To escape the universe would be to escape the very substance of which you are made. Your escape would not be a triumph over the universe. It would be your dissolution. You would not go somewhere else. You would simply cease to be the kind of thing that you are. Perhaps this is the deepest answer to why we can never escape the universe. We are the universe, not metaphorically, literally. The matter in your body has been part of stars, planets, oceans, and living beings across the history of the cosmos. The information patterns that constitute your consciousness are a local configuration of the same quantum fields that fill all of space. You are not a visitor in the universe. You are a manifestation of it. You cannot escape the universe for the same reason a wave cannot escape the ocean. The wave is not a thing that happens to be in the ocean. The wave is a pattern in the ocean. Remove the ocean and the wave does not escape. It vanishes. The ocean is not the wave's prison. The ocean is the wave's substance. We are patterns in the universe. The universe is our substance. The dream of escape is not really a dream of going somewhere better. It is a dream of transcendence, of surpassing our limitations, of becoming something more than we are. And that dream is real and worth pursuing. But transcendence does not require escape. It requires deeper understanding, deeper connection, more complete realization of what we already are. The universe will never let us go, because the universe is what we are. And in knowing this, in truly understanding the physics that makes escape impossible, we have achieved something that transcends any physical journey. We have understood our own nature. We have comprehended the cosmos from within. We have become the part of the universe that knows what the universe is, and that is not imprisonment. That is the greatest adventure there is.